kicking back on this summer breeze. Welcome to Double K's Classroom. Class is officially in session. Yo, what's up, y'all? What's up? This is Double KK Double back with you again here on the Four Aces Presents Radio Network or on the Double KK Double YouTube page. Y'all can find me all over the place: Twitter, Double KK Double, Facebook, Double KK Double Network, Spreaker, Castbox, Google, anywhere. So let's get to it. This week we open up talking a little bit about the Golden State Warriors, who I just happen to be watching right now, play the Charlotte Hornets down, I believe 10-6 at this point, or 8-5. Sorry, and yeah, make that 10-5. Sorry, Lonzo Ball just hit a shot. Yeah, man. So this Warriors team has had kind of an up and down. Like you look at last week, they had a 4-game road trip, through this last weekend of this week, they had a 4-game road trip at the Magic, at the Hornets, at the Knicks, at the Pacers. In my personal opinion, with the skill level of this particular Warriors team, this should have been a 4-0 sweep and a run of 6 straight after beating the Miami Heat and Cleveland Cavaliers the 2 nights before, or the 2 games before. But instead, they blow a 13-point lead and lose by 4 in Orlando. They blow like an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter and lose by 2 on some bullshit where Draymond Green gets ejected and they get 2 technical free throws to tie the game and then hit a game winner right after, and the ball and hit a game winner right after that. It was stupid on Draymond's part, and they did bounce back from that with the 114-106 revenge win over the Knicks, and then another revenge win 111-107 over the Pacers. Let's also mention that the last 2 games, the games against the Hornets and the Magic, the Warriors did not have Kevon Looney or James Wiseman, so they basically had nobody over 6'7" on the squad that they could use, and they didn't go out and pick up any other big man. So, but now they have both those gentlemen back in the lineup, and they seem to be back to their winning ways, sitting at 18-15 in fourth place in the Pacific standings. And now would be the time for them to make a little run and push, because both Phoenix, the Lakers are on a 4 games losing streak. The Clippers and Phoenix both lost their last games. So now would be the time for the Lakers, if the Warriors could rattle off 7-8 games win streak and get to like 23-15, they could be one of the top 4 seeds in the West and look like a legit contender. But because this squad is talented, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre Jr., of course, Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Wiseman is rounding out. He's a beast. I want to say the game when he first came back against the Knicks, he ended up with like 16 points and like 5 rebounds. That kid's gonna be a monster once he starts getting his NBA body on him and starts learning how to play the NBA game. The kid's gonna be a complete monster. I doubted this draft pick at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. At the very beginning of it, I was like, Wiseman, nah, man, trade that pick, get us another star, let's get rolling, let's get back to winning championships. And they didn't do that. But it looks like with Clay coming back next year, Wiseman will have a year underneath his belt. They'll get back Marquise Chris as a third rotation big. They'll hopefully still have Kelly Oubre and potentially still have Andrew Wiggins as well, and sign both of them to long-term contracts. And I think this squad can rattle off at least 2 finals appearances and at least 1 finals win. Yes, that's even with LeBron James in the West in Lakerville. Yes, I honestly believe that this Warriors squad could get the job done and win an NBA title. You add Marquise Chris and Klay Thompson to this team, and they're going to be hard to stop. They got shooting from the outside. They got guys who can bang on the inside. Defensively, he's not going to stop. James Wiseman isn't going to stop Anthony Davis, but he could. But between him and Draymond Green, they could definitely cause Anthony Davis some fits. But we will see how it goes at the end of the day. But man, I like what I'm seeing. I don't know about y'all, but I like what I'm seeing. Steph is back in damn near MVP form. This team is not going to be that team that dominates and wins 60, 70 games. That team is gone. That team is long gone. That team had specific chemistry, and that team is gone. But what the team we have now has the potential to go to the moon and back. Whether you like it or not, like whether you can sit here and say, "Oh no, dude, the Warriors are guaranteed first round out." Really, really, they have beaten some of the best teams that the NBA has to offer. The Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers. They've beaten the Clippers after coming back from 15 down. Like, yeah, they lost to Brooklyn, but shit, a lot of teams gonna lose to Brooklyn. So, at the end of the day, man, this Warrior squad is one that I could roll with. I could definitely like get invested in this. So we'll see what happens as we continue to move forward and get this season through. The second half, the schedule was released. The Warriors have several good games. I think they play the Lakers twice more after the All Star break. I think they'll play their other two games against the Clippers after the All Star break. So the Warriors have some tough games coming up in the second half, but I think that they are a good enough squad that they can power through and at least win 50% of those big games. If they can do that and then continue to deal with the other or continue to put away the other teams that they face that they should beat, that they are better than, and they continue to have great games and play push against the big squads, and you'd be surprised. You'll be surprised. All right. So now we're going to move on to Le Oakland Athletics. For those of you who don't know, the Oakland Athletics are the baseball team in Oakland. They're basically the last major league team left in Oakland. No, sorry, outside of the Raiders are going to Vegas. The Warriors have moved to San Francisco. So the Oakland A's are literally the last major team left in Oakland. So this year, this squad hopes to continue the run that they had last year, where they made the playoffs, even made it out of the first round of the playoffs. They've made a lot of changes to the bullpen, bringing in Sergio Romo, re-signing Lou Trevino, Jake Diekman, I believe they re-signed, or they may have already had him locked up. They got Trevor Rosenthal locked in as a closer after losing Liam Hendricks to the Chicago White Sox. Sean Murphy looks like he'll be splitting time with Armis Garcia at the catcher position. And then we also have Match. I didn't know we signed Mitch Moreland. Wow. Matt Olson, Mitch Moreland, Canna, and Pender is your depth chart for first baseman. And then you got Tony Kemp. That boy's bad. Elvis Andrews, Chad Pender, and Jed Lowry. Yes, Jed Lowry is back with the Oakland A's, y'all. I never thought I'd see the day. Matt Chapman at third base, at the hot corner, the all-star Chad Pender backing him up, Elvis Andrus and Jed Lowry. And then Elvis Andrus is actually going to replace pardon me for a second, the loss of Marcus Semien, a man that I personally liked as a Warrior or not Warrior, as an athletic, and wished that we could re-sign him and kept him, but I forget where he's went, but I'm pretty sure after bringing in Andrews, and they traded Chris Davis away from him, so that was like, wow. But I'm pretty sure with Andrews there's no intention of, I forget where he signed. Let's look that up. Let's Google that right now, guys. Let's see. What was I talking about? Oh, Marcus Semien. He is the Toronto Blue Jays is where he signed. Okay, I did not know that. Sorry, should have done my research before the show, guys. My bad. Yeah, so he signed with the Blue Jays. So they traded Chris Davis away for Andrew, which is okay because they do have Mark Canna. Chad Pender, Tony Kemp can play some outfield, as well as Steven Piscotty and Seth Brown. They also have Ramon Lariano, who's a beast at center field. Mark Canna, Tony Kemp, Kai Tom, and Seth Brown backing him up. And then you got right field, Stephen Piscotty, Mark Canna, Loriano, and Pender backing him up. And then Mitch Moreland at the DH to replace what we lost in Chris Davis. So basically, we just gave up Marcus Semien to the Blue Jays and then Chris Davis to the Rangers for Mitch Moreland and Elvis Andrews, even though I don't think Moreland played for the Rangers last year, but I remember he used to play for the Rangers. But yeah, I think this is a solid lineup. I think this is a solid team lineup. It's going to be interesting to see what Bob Melvin can do with them because they're a damn good team with a lot of potential. I think if you're looking for a breakout star potential player this year, look at Jesus Luzardo. Mark my words. That boy's going to be a beast. He will win 20 games at least one year in his career. May not necessarily be for the Athletics. I hope it is, but he will. The kid's good. So, all right. That's that. It's been a pleasure talking to y'all about the Athletics and the Warriors. We're going to take a quick commercial / podcast promo break. And we'll come back with a little update on the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm going to give you kind of my take on the GOAT conversation and some of the criteria that I feel goes into it. You're listening to Double K's Classroom, or you're watching Double K's Classroom right here on the 4 Aces Network, Spreaker.com, YouTube, Google, Spotify, wherever you find your favorite podcast, you'll find us. Peace. All right, and I am back for the second half of the show. What's up, Double K? K double. All right, so San Francisco 49ers. Haven't really made much by the way of moves. They're pretty much not planning on franchise tagging anybody um, because of the fact that they can't afford to. Like they only have 13 million in the cap. You franchise tag somebody that pretty much wipes that out, and they have nothing. So they did re-sign the River Craycraft to a 1 year extension. Well, they signed him to a new contract, then they signed him to an extension. They also signed QB Josh Rosen and running back Austin Walter to 1 year contract extensions. Long snapper Tabor Pepper signed a 2 year extension. They signed Jeff Wilson to a 1 year contract and Ken Webster, cornerback, to a 1 year contract. They signed Josh Johnson and offensive tackle Corbin Kafusi to reserve future contracts. This is a squad that looks good on paper again this year. Pretty much Lynch is pretty much guaranteed that Garoppolo is going to be back as the head quarterback. I do expect them to address their quarterback depth, as they said. I expect Josh Rosen to probably move up to the number 2 spot. I expect Nick Mullins to probably be let go. Released at some point. Same thing with C.J. Beathard. He's already a free agent, but I expect him to bring in Josh Rosen and maybe bring in a rookie quarterback in the later rounds. Raheem Mostert projects to be the starter again next year at the running back position with Jeff Wilson behind him, and then McKinnon will not be back, but they do have JaMychal Hasty and Andrew Walter that they can utilize as well. Debo, of course, will be back. Richie James will be back. Travis Benjamin probably won't be. I believe he was on a 1 year deal. Austin Prohl, I believe, is under contract as a rookie. So not first year rookie, but like second year rookie or something like that. Brandon Ayuk definitely coming back as a starter. Trent Taylor, I don't know if he'll end up making it back, but they did re-sign River Craycraft, and they still have Jawan Jennings. Remember, they do still have Jalen Hurd. Kendrick Bourne is expected to hit the free agent market. They still have Kevin White, Chris Thompson, George Kittle is still the starting tight end. I believe they signed Reed to a long-term contract, but Dwelly may be ended up getting let go. Warner was just drafted last year. They're gonna do the best they can to re-sign Trent Williams, and that's gonna be huge. Colton McKivitz is not quite ready to start at any point. They need to, I would say, cut bait with Weston Richburg. I believe he's going to be a free agent this year anyway. And they would be smart, and Grasu as well, and they would be smart to go after Alex Mack. He knows Shanahan's system, played in it for a couple of years in Atlanta, and he's a damn good former all-star center who's still got some tread left on the tire, if you know what I mean. Then you got Daniel Brunskill, right guard, and then third-year player Mike McGlinchey, man in the right side. So you lock down Trent Williams, that's going to be huge during free agency, and I think that's going to be their primary objective. Arik Armstead, killing it. Solomon Thomas, same thing. DJ Jones will be back. Nick Bosa will be back. D Ford, I don't know. Deion Jordan, I don't know. Javon Kinlaw, of course. I hope they bring back Ezekiel Ansah. Let's see. And maybe potentially Contavious Street. They got Demetrius Flanagan Fowles at the weak side linebacker. Fred Warner, Pro Bowler, at the middle linebacker. And then at the Sam linebacker, they got Dre Greenlaw. I expect all of them to be back for next year. They got Joe Walker, who was a rookie last year, Azeez Al-Shahir, who I believe is on the third year of his rookie deal, and Mike Shinoza, Nezdocha. I believe they'll find some depth as well in the draft for as far as the linebackers go. Cornerback is going to need to be, in my personal opinion, is going to need to be addressed immediately in the first round. Why? Because you could get one of the top tier corners and be able to lock down within a year or two, be able to lock down one side of the field for your defense. And I think that would be huge with a lot of young players on this defense that can look to grow together and become the next Legion of Boom, so to speak. Jaquiski Tart is locked up, so is Jimmy Ward. Jason Verrett is another one that I would say try to bring back, just like Trent Williams. Try to bring him back for a couple of years. I think you bring in a young corner and put him opposite Verrett, and I think you got a tandem that could do some things. Verrett showed some signs of being back to his all-star form when he played this year. So when he started for the Niners for the better part of the last part of the year, or beginning part of the year when Sherman was out. So yeah, and of course we always got Robbie Gould as the place kicker and Mitch Wachowski as the punter. So we've got they've got some power. They've got some power and some depth. And I think both things are going to come in handy for them come next year. Don't sleep on the 49ers. Don't think that just because they went 6-10 this year they didn't fell off for good, because they coming back. This team will be better next year than it was this year, and they might just surprise the NFL and get back to a Super Bowl. We'll see. Now, final subject for the night. Let's talk GOAT combo. What I mean by GOAT combo is what makes a GOAT. Different people say different things. Some say it's winning championships. Some say it's dominating the league for an extended period of time. Some say it's playing a bunch of years. The longevity of career is what makes you the GOAT. I say it's a combination of all of it. I think you check off boxes. I'll use a prime example. I just recently got done playing the video game UFC 3, and played my personal creative fighter that was me, all the way through to retirement as the greatest fighter of all time. And there were boxes that I needed to check. There were 8 of them to be exact. 2 from interpromotional, and then 6 from within the UFC. There were 6 boxes. There were a total of about 10 categories, but there's about 6 boxes. And I think it's kind of similar with the GOAT conversation. I think that it matters. First and foremost, in order to be anywhere near the GOAT conversation, you have to have multiple championships. Period. And I'm not talking about multiple championships like Robert Ory, like, oh, I just happened to be on the right bench at the right time to rack up 7 rings. Not to say Robert Ory didn't play his part. He was a great and amazing role player who did what he needed to do to do his part to win. But he was by no means on any team in which he won the championship. Was he ever the team leader? Was he ever the locker room leader? Ever at any point during Robert Ory's career was he ever the locker room leader? So let's eliminate the Robert Ory. We're talking about guys like Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, who despite having all-star teammates, led their teams to championships. LeBron James. Okay? So you have to have multiple championships. You have to have multiple championships as the leader of your squad. Not necessarily the best player on the team, but the leader. Because people fail to remember that sometimes. That the best player on the team isn't always the leader in the locker room. I'll use a prime example. The Warriors, the Golden State Warriors, that's Steph's team. But if you ask a lot of people, the heart, the soul, the leader of the team is Draymond Green. He's nowhere near the best player on the squad. Which is why you hear statements a lot of the time like, what Draymond Green brings to the table can't be seen on the stat sheet. So because of that, it's one of those types of things where just because you are the best player on the team does not mean that you are the actual leader of said squad. So I eliminate people who are non-leaders. No offense to Scottie Pippen, he admits it himself. Michael Jordan was the leader of those squads. As much as LeBron fans want to try to downplay Jordan by saying, "Oh no, Pippen was really the one that was the leader," no. And yes, people, please stop using that Phil Jackson quote and mistaking it. He literally says in the quote, "While Michael was retired, Scottie was our leader." Yes, when Michael Jordan retired, Scottie Pippen was the leader. But even Scottie Pippen admitted that Michael Jordan was the leader of that squad. So that's the level we're talking about. This is why you get down. So do championships matter? Yes. Do regular season accolades matter? Yes. MVPs, stat leaders, PER leaders, etc. Yes, that matters. Um, Postseason accolades, that matters. Finals MVP, etc. Now, here's the big one. Not just winning a championship, considering most of their contemporaries on the GOAT conversation level have won multiple championships. You also got to ask at which the style in which they win it. And what I mean by this is people look at it and say, well, if you look at numbers, 10 is greater than 6. So therefore, LeBron is greater because he went to 10 championships. The man won 4. 4. Got it? If you are going to make it to 10 championships and you want to impress me at least, and hey, my opinion means nothing. I'm just a dude on YouTube and then on the internet that has his own opinion. But if you want to impress me by going to 10 championships, you got to win more than you lose. And for people to say, oh, well, the competition is just so hard. The competition is hard for any team that reaches the finals. These are the best 2 teams in the league. So you face the best of the best. The way you become the GOAT is by beating the best of the best. Are you hearing me? Are you listening? Are you opening your ears? The path to GOATdom comes from beating the best of the best. This is why a lot of Michael Jordan fans, not myself personally, but a lot of Michael Jordan fans say that the 6-0 is the end all be all, because they might not have been as good as the teams today, but Jordan faced the best of his generation and beat them all. No cap. All of them. Stop multiple Hall of Famers from winning rings ever in their career. Charles Barkley does not have a ring in his career because the best year that they thought he was going to have to win a title, Michael Jordan took it away from him. Karl Malone and John Stockton got 2 tries and failed both times. Now let's, in contrast, take a look at the other man in the GOAT conversation. Well, let's take look at some of the other men in the GOAT conversation. Wilt Chamberlain, possibly one of the most, or no, that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the skyhook, but Wilt Chamberlain, amazing career, multiple championships. Bill Russell, 13 years, 11 chips. 11 chips, 13 years. But didn't have the dominance of the league as far as no, I can't even say that. Wilt is in the conversation, or not Wilt, but Bill Russell's in the conversation because of his accolades, because of his 11 and 13. And he's in the convo. MJ is in the convo because he is 6-0. LeBron James is in the convo because he went to 10. Stop trying to elevate him to the number 1 spot because he went to 10. Failure matters, folks, regardless of the odds. Because you know what? Let me tell you something. Well, to get corny with you and get movie with you, when Rocky stepped into the ring with Ivan Drago, nobody expected that little nigga to win. Nobody expected that little fool to win. And if he'd have gotten dropped in the first round, nobody would have been surprised. But it still would have counted against him. It still would have counted against him. He still wouldn't have been Rocky. Why? Because you got your ass knocked out by Ivan Drago. Lord knows after Ivan killed Apollo Creed, he might have killed Rocky. Caught him with a face one, right to the face. Losses count, folks. Let's not try to wipe them away because we want to support some narrative that this player is better than the others. Did Jordan lose? Yes, he did. And most 99.9% of Michael Jordan fans will tell you that. Bill Russell lost. Wilt Chamberlain lost at certain points in his career. The only person that really didn't ever lose was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think it was successful at just about every level. I believe he had a high school championship, a couple college championships at UCLA, and won championships with the Lakers. That fool just won wherever he went. It didn't matter, which is why Kareem is in the GOAT conversation. It's a conversation for a reason, folks. And then I say all of what I said to show you and to tell you that it's a convo for a reason. There is no definitive GOAT. There isn't. Everybody's gonna feel different about it. Until we figure out a metric that can truly tell us who the best player ever to touch a basketball or the best player to ever touch a football, people's opinions will always differ. I still have friends who refuse to acknowledge Tom Brady as the GOAT, even after winning 7 of 10 Super Bowls. Still think it's Joe Montana. And I'm a 49ers fan, and I love Joe, but sorry, the accolades are just too piled up for Tom Brady. And I'm not talking about yardage and all that. I'm talking about actual hardware. 7 titles, 10 AFC or 9 AFC championships and 1 NFC championship. Multiple Super Bowl MVPs. The accolades just stacked too high for Tom. I love Joe, but they just stacked too high for Tom. But I respect those that say Joe is, because that's that I can see where they're coming from. The issues with a lot of LeBron fans come in that is because they try to force it down people's throat that LeBron is the GOAT. Just accept it. Just accept it. He's the GOAT. Fool, no, I don't need to accept it. It's a GOAT convo. Nothing's been locked in stone, and nothing LeBron has done during his career locks him in that spot at all. Nothing he's done in his career. And don't even get me started. I'm going to wait till next episode to get started on this. At 36 years old, he's so impressive. Oh, bro, we gonna bring out some stats on that shit. Next episode. I hope y'all have enjoyed listening to this episode of Double K's Classroom. And, I'll be back with you in 2 weeks. Next week, we got some KD5P, probably some more 90s chart toppers for episode 101. And this weekend, we got the Cheap Pop Podcast, episode 42. Stay tuned after this show for a sneak peek into what's coming up on Cheap Pop. All right?